Everyone. So I'm going through part two of this spreadsheet using my property analyzer and walking you through how I use it, how I look at properties. I did one of these and I do have it on my YouTube video, but it was a couple years old and I've done some updates to it. So I'd like to walk you through kind of what I've updated. And this is going to be a two-part series. I'm going to talk about kind of how I get my average annual ROI. But then, dive in a little bit deeper and break down each year how that's going to look for my return on investment. So we'll start with the top of the sheet, looking at kind of the property address, what area the property is in, what the list price is or asking price, how many days on market it's been, the lot size, the age of the property. All things that I want to take into consideration, give me a quick little snapshot. So then I move into the first box here on my left, which is the purchase. So you can put in what you actually are going to offer on the property or what you want to buy the property at, and it's highlighted in yellow there. You can tweak the down payment that you want to put down. It will give you a general idea of, this is the exact amount of 101,000 of 20%, but closing costs is an estimate of around 2% I put in just to be super conservative. It's usually not higher than that 2%. But sometimes there's adjustments and property taxes depending on what time of year you're buying, things like that, lawyers' fees, and then the big one is the land transfer tax. So that's what that includes. And then we're going to look at what our estimated costs are. So on the left here, you can see kind of projections of roughly what things would cost. So, I mean, a roof at $5,000, that's, that could fluctuate based off the size of the house. So what your actuals are, what you think you're going to pay. So furnace and duct work, if it is 8,000, you can kind of get an idea. New AC being 2,000, electrical panel upgrade. In this case, in this property, it already has 200 amps coming into the property, so it's a little bit cheaper just to get the sub two separate meters. But you can see you can kind of come down and get your final number of what your total renovation costs are going to be. So 102 plus tax is 115,000. That gives you your initial capital needed, which ends up being your closing costs, your down payment, and then your rental budget. There is a spot there if you do have additional loans, or sometimes people finance even their down payment to leverage themselves even higher. So there is an option there for that as well. This second box here then gives you kind of what your holding cost is going to be during the rental. So what your interest rate is. You're going to have your mortgage, utilities, insurance, property tax. So you can adjust if it's going to be a 4-month rental or a 6-month rental. You'll see that it'll adjust the entire sheet really coming right back from the ROI, but more specifically just those holding costs that you're going to have. Then if you're going to flip it or refinance or what it's worth after, right? So we bought it for 505. We're going to put in 115,000 and we believe it's going to be worth 730 once we're done. So a nice little lift there. Then we're going to look at what our new mortgage would be if we were to refinance and keep this long term. And it's usually a cheaper rate. So here you see 2.8. Here we have 2%. There's rates now even like 1.79. And you can see that will adjust your mortgage payment, which then ripples into the rest of the spreadsheet there. Then you get your money returned to you. So that is simply the difference between the amount your new mortgage amount paying off that old mortgage amount. And remember, we've put in 226, right? So we have 226. We're going to get back 180. That will give us what we have left into the property, right? So in this case, we have $61,000 left into the property. If we were to flip this, we could make $50,000 right off the bat. But we, in this case, are going to decide to hang on to it. On the right here, then we have our rental income and expenses. So what each unit is going to rent, if there's a garage. Again, this sheet is mostly looking for or analyzing single-family properties or legal 2 units. I do have a multifamily one too that I will share as well. We can put our property taxes, and that will fluctuate. Our insurance is usually 100, 110, 120 a month sometimes. We're going to make our tenants pay for gas, hydro, water. We're going to put in a maintenance, a vacancy, and property management. You could see the percentages there, and that's 8% of gross income, which is $3,300. That's how we get that number. Okay. So you can still see that even if we hang on to this, even if we're getting 180 of our 226 back, we're still going to cash flow 267. So it's still pretty decent in my opinion. I do think this area in Oshawa is going to appreciate more. You could see down here as we go to our 5-year return on investment. This gives you a rough idea of what it's going to be. So a lot of times I'll put if it's not going to appreciate, you saw that zero out, and that lowers your average annual ROI. If we were to put it like right now, we're going up 24% each year right now in Oshawa, which is unsustainable. That's a different conversation. But even at 5%, you look at the average annual ROI, how much it jumps. So it is kind of neat to play with it and see what you're going to be. I like to be conservative. Even, I like to look at it, what it's going to be, if I'm going to make money with no appreciation, but even inflation's around 2%. So that's a pretty safe bet right there. And you can see, so you'd make $75,000 in appreciation, from your after repair value, right? So this is kind of our new starting point. Our mortgage pay down is coming, we're going down. We're going to make $77,000. And our cash flow over 5 years, remember, right? All this is looking at a 5-year snapshot. So our total profit in cash would be $169,000 if all these things were to happen, giving us a 275% return divided by 5, gives you your 55%. So it's not compounded either. It just simplifies it. You'll see in the next video that we'll look at more what happens when you compound it going forward and giving you a more true number of your average annual ROI. But that's the spreadsheet. It certainly helps. We're always looking at what that ROI number is going to be, how much money we're going to have into our property. Those are our 2 bolded and our main criteria that we're looking for. Of course, if we wanted to have another exit strategy and flip it, that's also an option. But that's essentially the spreadsheet there and how to use it. Again, if you'd like a copy of this, happy to share it. Send me an email. It's camcassidy1@gmail.com, or leave a comment. This will be on YouTube, so you can leave a comment on the comment section below, and happy to share that with you.